Welcome back to Uplink, the only show on the internet where you can find out about the latest gaming news just a little bit after everyone else.
The only one that matters, too.
I'm Andrew Hamilton.
I'm Royden and Andrew.
And we're going to be covering the Bethesda Xbox Showcase, the Starfield drama and reveal, and a little bit of the Capcom stuff that came out. And then we're going to talk about the new PlayStation Plus a little bit because...
I got it on accident.
Yeah, hey, I got it, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll start with the Xbox Showcase, which I immediately put my phone away. So.
Well, everything that was in the Xbox Showcase, as according to IGN, don't worry about them. Subscribe to us.
They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Valheim, coming to Xbox.
Yeah. So that was a good chunk of the Xbox reveal. I think that a lot of the flow of it was kind of stagnated by, hey, you remember this old game or this game that's been PC exclusive, but it's still been out for 3 or 4 years? What if that was but Xbox, you know? What if it was on the Xbox? That would be cool, right? Well, guess what? There's no new games coming out till 2023, so we are announcing that also in 2023, some older games are coming to
some things
console.
you've already played.
So, I think it's cool that Xbox players are going to get to experience Personas 3 through 5. But of course, it's not exclusive to Xbox. That's coming to PS5 as well and Steam. And I think the Epic Game Store also. But the Valheim thing is kind of cool. Neat. But like, I don't know. For me...
You don't seem too enthused.
For me, the appeal of Game Pass is getting to get a lot of those day one things.
Day one exclusives.
So I think that they didn't have as much to talk about that was coming out immediately. So they had to be like, hey, here's a bunch of third-party stuff that we hope you still care about enough to want to play it on Xbox.
And at the very end of the day, that's kind of what The Last of Us did too. But we talked about that last episode.
It's a little different with that one because they are actually remaking those games. This is just bringing them over to Xbox. It's a port,
right?
With minor improvements, but it's ultimately just a port and / remaster, I guess. But
Bethesda.
After that we got Bethesda. Now part of the Xbox ecosystem. Surprisingly, a lot of
you said last episode you didn't think they would say anything.
I thought Bethesda would say stuff. I thought that we wouldn't get much out of Xbox Game Studios. We skipped the first. I completely forgot. This is how little I cared about this announcement. Forza is getting a reboot called Forza Motorsport. It's gonna have weather and cars and racetracks and.
Isn't that Forza? And weather. And cars.
Sorry,
he's back with us.
Look, the Forza Horizon series is very good. Forza Mainline series, it's not for me. And so it was not a exciting reveal for me in the slightest. So I couldn't get into it.
I mean, Forza Horizon is won like Game of the Year awards, and that's very interesting to me for racing games.
I think the open world environment and the ability to take on different types of tracks and stuff really make the Horizon series stand out. But the Forza Mainline series is tracks and it's more simulator, which is cool for some people. I think the game visually looks insanely beautiful, but
as somebody who has been playing the F1 video game recently, it really is your preference because if you like racing, you're going to play the game. Just like if you like football, you're going to play Madden. But like I don't care, man.
Yeah.
I
do like their subtle knock against Sony in the trailer where they're like, and this game will feature real-time ray tracing on the track in-game because famously, when Gran Turismo 7 released, the ray tracing features that were advertised were only available in playback. So you could they were only applied when you were watching
video mode or replay mode.
So I do think that was kind of a funny, like, we figured
real
it out.
time. We did it.
We'll see. We didn't see a whole lot of footage from it.
Well, you said last episode, and this goes hand in hand with the Bethesda thing, and this is what I was talking about. You said you didn't think that we would hear anything about Fallout, or you'd be shocked that if we heard anything about Fallout.
So I didn't think that we would hear anything about an next Fallout game because that would be dumb. to announce a game that far out. That like it's fine to acknowledge that the Fallout series isn't going to like stagnate or something, but like to announce, like I think they announced Elder Scrolls 6 entirely too soon. That game entered pre-production this year. It's not even kind of made yet. And the Starfield team is the one who will move on to take care of that game when it starts full production. And then that team, once Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, will move on to take on Fallout. But you see why I'm saying it's maybe kind of silly to release or to announce a game that's not going to release until 2035?
Nah.
Because
gotta give the people what they want.
The only thing that would have been funnier than that is if GameStop announced right at the same time they started to take pre-orders on Fallout 5.
Yeah.
Like today, they're like, and pre-order.
Get in line for Fallout 5.
Be sure to pre-order for the pre-order bonus that gets you the pre-order bonus that we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
So I felt that was kind of silly. So I did legitimately think they wouldn't say anything about it, and they didn't say it in the main thing. They did it in the follow-up interviews.
Yeah.
But the biggest things that I was surprised by was most of the Xbox games that we know about in production did not get a heavy showcase here. So we did not get much look at, or we didn't get any looks at Perfect Dark, at the new Fable game, which is being done by the developers that do the Forza series.
You remember Fable?
I mean, someone's got to, right?
Remember
Peter
Fable
Molyneux is
3?
out there somewhere like, yeah, I'm the Fable guy. You remember Fable?
Didn't we talk about this at length one episode where
Yes.
they're like the tree will continue? Somewhere there's a tree building on your Xbox 360 or growing rather.
Somewhere Peter Molyneux is swindling a child out of their lunch money.
Allegedly.
He doesn't have any money,
so no news on any of the Fable games. No news.
Yeah.
On...
So there was no news on that. There wasn't anything on a new Gears game. We didn't get anything from. I legitimately I expected Rare to come with something. They came with Sea of Thieves Season 7. That's cool.
A game people still play.
Yeah, definitely. And a game that's been around for a while now.
The more that I see the only time I see Sea of Thieves is like bits on TikTok.
Yeah. And there's
like,
some
people
funny
still,
stuff on there.
Yeah. People are still playing Sea of Thieves?
Yeah. I mean, that's like finding out that people still play the First Division game. I'm always astounded by that kind of stuff. But I do think that I was really surprised that Rare didn't show up. And I was extra surprised that the rumors that have been circulating from well-known insiders about this GoldenEye remake didn't happen. I don't know if it's just not in the pipeline yet, or if it's maybe they're having some trouble with the rights or something.
It was teased for at least a week.
Yeah, I mean, teased implies that they did that, but it was rumored for over a month now. So we just didn't get a lot of that. But Bethesda did show up with quite a few things. Nothing that releases this year. Redfall is Vampire Left 4 Dead, but done with the Arcane Studio flourish. They swear by the fact that you'll still be able to do a single player experience here, which is pretty cool. I'll have to wait and see.
How much did you play Left 4 Dead back in the day?
I played a bit with friends.
I had a lot of friends that played Left 4 Dead.
I know tons of people who were like super into it. But
it was a very popular game.
Yeah.
I was late.
Yeah, I was super late to that trend. I do think that it's a popular game for a reason. There's been lots of people who have tried to replicate that formula, and it's not been successful. But I also think that the thing that Arcane Games excels at, Arcane Studios excels at, is high quality single player experiences. And I think kind of taking them out of that element and putting in this multiplayer experience, which they kind of dip their waters into with Deathloop, makes me worried about the consistency and quality across the experience. Because I'm sure the story is going to be excellent, but I hope it's not marred by the traditional like co-op player issues that happen whenever your characters don't really have volition because you're not a single player. You have to, work with other people. Or if it's going to be also weirdly, only the host in the co-op games gets to progress their campaign.
Really?
Yeah. So you play with your friends, that didn't do anything for you.
Well, yeah, and it's not like a bunch of people are coming over to. This is the thing we've talked about it on previous episodes as well of making these games. Like they always had this huge thought about the Division as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to work in co-op with people, and This is a little bit easier than that.
A lot
like
of assumptions.
Yeah, this is a little bit easier than that. You're all actually working towards a standard goal,
right?
But it used to be where you had to go over to someone's house. Now, and that was in the before times when people could actually when people could actually go see each other. But and so there was some commonality there.
Yeah. Well, it was
the fun party thing. It's like Mario Party or anything else. Like we used to do that, but like
hop on with your friends for a few hours. It's a good way to stay connected, but
I don't know. So the online multiplayer dependent games are always kind of get me where I'm like, isn't it really work?
I think we're at a point in the industry
we
where
progressed a little, but
it does work. I do think that this will have a much easier time of succeeding because of both the Arcane Studios title, the theme around it, and the fact that the Back 4 Blood wasn't quite the Left 4 Dead spiritual successor they were hoping for. I think Redfall is going to be good. I just worry about the quality being consistent across all versions of the experience. But I do see what you're saying. I think that there's a lot of this implied understanding of how humans work. And it's a very hopeful understanding that everyone wants to
do the same thing
and not hurt each other. It's kind of like how Destiny just assumes that I'm going to go make friends with everyone that I meet, so I'll have enough players to do the raid content. So that's why I can't randomly match players on raids.
Yeah.
So
it works better now than it used to because everyone has online. Like when I say used to, I mean like 2010 when like the last holdouts of not having Xbox Gold or whatever. Like it works better now than when these games first started to come out where you can play with your friends. Like now all your friends also have online stuff. So it's a lot easier than
stuff
like
coming to Game Pass.
Jumping on with like random teenagers and you're just like, hey guys, you want to, and they're just like, no, I'm going to go over here, noob.
Right. Yeah, I think that the one thing that Xbox has done very deliberately and well here, and if their acquisition of Activision goes through and isn't opposed and they get Call of Duty and stuff, I think this will apply there as well. Putting these games out on Game Pass day one, day and date, means that you have a guaranteed install base of some of that Game Pass subscription. If you've got 15 million people subscribed, you can hope that probably about 8 million of those people will try. So I think that's a lot of cool stuff that is coming out of Game Pass in that regard.
What about Microsoft Flight Simulator?
What about it?
There's 40th anniversary. My dad is going nuts.
Hey, remember whenever Microsoft only made one game? That was Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It's awesome.
Now you can fly the Halo spaceship. Hooray! And also a 1920s glider.
Yeah, I mean there's some cool stuff. Like if you go and look at it, it looks
thing's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you go and look at it, it looks incredible.
Flight Simulator is one of those games that looks amazing, is incredible from a technical standpoint, but I have no desire to play it in my free time. I think it'd be a fun jokingly on like a live stream or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go land on in like Felucia or whatever.
Try to fly through a hurricane.
Yeah, I mean the real time weather event stuff too.
It's all satellite fed.
That's really cool. And for players of the old game, 99 I think was the last time that they came out. Just images burned in my brain of my dad up at like 2 a.m. just like flying to Hawaii. You're just like, how long have you been doing this?
It's the most escapism.
Oh yeah,
because you get to take trips that you'll never get to take in real life.
Yeah, so
the only way I'm getting a vacation.
Absolutely. So that's interesting for some people, but they did announce the 40th anniversary of that.
It was one of those like, oh neat. So the other major announcement from Xbox there was that Grounded is coming out of early access and going into a full premium version of the game. That's basically the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids game, where you play as a very minuscule person in a world. It's like a looter shooter. It's pretty cool. The biggest news out of all of this stuff is for sure that Starfield reveal. I think that is what most people came away talking about. I'll be honest with you, I'm not impressed.
Why?
So, for one,
It's like the one game that you've been.
I hope it's good, but so with the reports that have come out about the way that Crunch worked on Fallout 76, and they pulled people away from this team, hearing Pete Hines do his whole shtick again about, last time he was on stage with 16 times the detail, 4 times bigger than Fallout 4's map. Neat. The game didn't play well though, so why did those details don't matter? Also, no one ever verified those details.
I didn't even touch Fallout 76 after the reviews came out.
You definitely shouldn't have, and I still won't, just because But I think that seeing the gameplay, there were a couple things that just looked kind of janky to me. I kind of had the same problem with the Modern Warfare 2's revealed gameplay thing, where they don't move at the pace of a player. They move these highly cinematic sweeps, slow moving, and then they slowly do this one thing, and then there's no real fast-paced stuff. There's a gunfight in there, but they cut between stuff to kind of allow for space. It just felt weird. And then there were a couple of graphical weirdness things, like when the ship lands. It looks like someone was like, "There's not enough smoke on this. I'm gonna crop in some 2D sprites of smoke here on the front." It just looks amateurish.
Well, I mean, what's the release date?
We don't know. 2023.
That's right.
So I'm hopeful that they can fix it in the time, whatever it is. It also, I think the biggest thing for me is hearing
it's December 2023.
I'm sure
it's here.
Swearsies. I think that the biggest things for me is it looks like a less vibrant, less well-structured No Man's Sky. It's modern No Man's Sky, not original release, which has so much to do and is so
big.
amazing.
Yeah. We didn't have to fix that game at all.
I mean, but it was also this is not a AAA studio that made that game. It was 20 dudes.
Yeah.
And they've made it into one of the most successful, most impressive technical achievements from any kind of game.
We really don't talk about that game. We talked about it a little bit on a previous episode. We don't talk about that enough, where they're just kind of sucked. We'll fix it. We promised a lot, and then it wasn't there.
Go watch Internet Historian's video on the rise and fall, or the fall and rise, rather, of No Man's Sky. It's really good. It's comical, and it's for mature audiences. But it is very good. I think that that comparison, and then the fact that Pete Hines came out and was like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be our most expansive game ever. More original assets have been made for this than ever before. 1,000 planets across 10 solar systems." And I immediately went, "Oh, okay. So So you mean 900 barren planets that have resources that you have to go laser mine very slowly to get, with minor side quests on them, and then
I love Minecraft in my space games.
You got to put Minecraft in my space games. Also, too many space games this year. Just want to say that. 70 planets that featured, the main side quest content, and maybe just 1 or 2 per planet.
Yeah.
Then 10 that are important to fetch quests, 10 that are important to weapon things and development, and then 10 that are important to the main story. And I had guessed originally only 5 planets that would contain major cities. And then they came out and confirmed that basically by saying, well, there's only 4 major cities. I'm like, across 1,000 planets, you made 4 cities?
It's like Tatooine on Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's just we got to go back.
We got to go back. This Tatooine and Coruscant. I don't know where else to go. So it's all we got. It's those are the only ones anyone knows. What, you want to go to Hoth?
Yeah.
That's snow. You don't like snow,
Nobody likes snow.
We've had enough snow.
I liked what Outer Worlds did. Now, that wasn't the best game, but they're this game is it's just here.
Yeah, well, and Outer Worlds I think Outer Worlds is more what I would want from Starfield, though, because Outer Worlds is more a true Bethesda-style RPG, even though it's not Bethesda.
It looked exactly like Fallout.
That's because it was done by Obsidian, who did Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
So they did a fantastic job with creating their space Fallout game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this game wants to be everything. I think it wants to be Cyberpunk. I think it wants to be No Man's Sky, but it also wants you to think that it's Skyrim. And it's also you remember this stuff from Fallout? That's in there too. Fallout. There's just a lot of factors that go into this that I just don't trust Bethesda to nail anymore. I think that this game will most likely, despite my better judgment, win most people's Game of the Year regardless of the quality of the release. But
You're really down on it.
I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I just don't think it's going. I don't think it's going to be able to deliver on what they're trying to say that it is. I think it's going to be
how he feels about this game is how I felt about Elden Ring.
Yeah,
and
Elden Ring,
let me tell you, I was wrong. So don't listen to us.
Look, I entirely hope that Starfield turns out to be an insanely good game. I really do. I don't ever hope that a developer fails. But I just don't trust when Pete Hines comes out and tells me it's the greatest thing they've ever made, especially with a lot of the stuff we've heard about behind the scenes. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot more details that need to come out, but for what it is, I think that was a very slow-moving trailer that could be because they're having frame rate issues and they don't want to show any of that happening.
What about the Rick and Morty?
Oh, hell yeah.
Justin Roiland game.
What was that game called?
High on Life?
High on Life, yeah. Oh, man, that game, it's like, there's a game called Void Bastards that was really good. Pardon my language, it's the title of the game, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll let it fly.
I mean, this is a TV PG-13 and up, TV 14. We don't have TV ratings. I hit the little box that's not for kids.
Yeah. But viewer discretion advised.
Mild discretion. I wouldn't even say that it's full viewer.
Your grandmother's discretion advised.
If your mom's in the room, say it's the name of the game before we say it.
Right.
You have to watch the episode once through, and then that way you know where it is, so you can tell them when.
Wear headphones.
Yeah. Also, just that in general. But that game looks fantastic, and it reminds me a lot of like Void Bastards meets like a space opera kind of.
Is this why the Rick and Morty seasons have taken 18 years between seasons to come out? Is this why?
No, the pandemic was why that happened. But Justin Roiland's side thing with Squanch Games is probably taking up some of his time.
Actually, I'm very excited about that. Anything that guy touches has been like, even the weird show on Hulu that he did was funny. Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming to Xbox Game Pass Day 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this this is Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, it's a isometric slasher game again, akin to Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight.
So a lot of the people I'm seeing on TikTok again, because this is what the algorithm feeds me, is just gaming. Is people are still playing the Friday the 13th game like in mass.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass and it's on the new PlayStation Plus. So but its servers I think are due to shut down eventually. So in the vein of Disco Elysium, if you don't know about that game, it's an incredible narrative game with a ton of choices, tons of endings, lots of options. Obsidian Games is making a game called Pentiment. And it's like a medieval tapestry come to life where you go around and you do day-to-day life stuff, but you also participate in all the medieval traditions and stuff. It looks really good, like artistically. I don't know if it'll be fun for everyone. Disco Elysium was definitely not for everyone, but it was a 9 out of 10 level game.
Do you want to talk about social experience?
No.
No, okay. Forza Horizon 5, Hot Wheels DLC. That looks actually really cool.
Look, you put Hot Wheels in any driving game, I'm in.
Yeah, that looks.
Especially like the Forza Hot Wheels DLC have always been super cool. Love crossovers. Gotta love them. That's why they're putting Halo and Fall Guy.
I looked on Fall Guy on PS4, the original download. It said discontinued, or basically it was like, you're gonna have to buy this one now. It got popular.
Yeah, I don't know. That game is still fairly popular, I guess, but I don't remember that it's a thing until they announce new skins, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Fall Guy. You remember Fall Guy? I never played that very much.
Yeah, that's how I am with Fortnite. Can we talk about the PlayStation stuff real quick?
Yeah.
That's anything else you want to say?
One more thing. So Stalker 2 got delayed to 2023 very quietly, but I think the more important part of that that came out of that was the developers showing what their conditions are like. Stalker 2 is developed by Ukrainian developers. I think GSC Game World did a really good job of saying, hey, look, we're still working on the game, but here's the reality of the situation. The game director, the narrative director, and a few others are currently enrolled in military action. They are on the battlefield right now. They all packed up their studio to join the fight for Ukraine. A bold and brave action. I think that they didn't need to be here to show their video game, but I think it was important that people see that their social media director is currently working out of a room that has a bathtub with a server in it and a what looked like a washing machine that he's got his laptop in. And that's just the reality of their conditions. The game will come out. They released 50 minutes of the opening of the game, but honestly, I just...
You know what? Take your time.
Yeah. Don't make the game right now. I'm not worried about it.
You take your time. That's all I gotta say.
It was kind of a like a daunting reminder of the reality of the world, and I think it was probably could have done without them having to force like branding information in. But I think it was important that people see that they didn't just like stop and go into hiding or something. They joined the fight. So that was pretty crazy.
Insane. Yeah. We'll give you a pass, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, look, take your time. It doesn't matter, war or not. Developers, take your time on your games. Put them out whenever they're ready.
But especially if there's a war.
Don't hurt yourself to put them out.
But especially if there's a war.
But especially if there's a war going on, probably don't develop the video game.
I mean, like more power to them. I hope.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Yeah,
safe.
Best of luck in their fight against Russia and what they're doing there. So now on to not bigger topic. What I was saying, less serious topics, less big topics. Less serious stuff.
That's an excellent segue. Welcome to the PlayStation Plus portion of this. So yeah, PS Plus, the new PS Plus finally launched on June 13th. What are your first impressions?
I didn't know that it was happening overnight. It literally was like I turned on my Xbox and I hadn't turned it on in like a day or so, and I turned it on. I was like going literally to delete my my PlayStation Now subscription, and it just wasn't there anymore.
Right.
And all the games that I had already downloaded were still there. So I was like, wait, did it do the thing? The thing happened? And it did. A little different to navigate. Yeah. It kind of looks the same as what you...
I think it flows better, but it is kind of confusing on first launch.
All the games that I believe that were there in like we said in the PlayStation Plus folder. I don't know what was the editor's choice or the.
So there's a whole PlayStation Plus app now, and then you've got all the different like.
No, I know. In the old PlayStation Plus, what was it called? The ones that they gave you for free.
It was just the free monthly games or whatever.
No, there was another one that had Last of Us and God of War.
Oh, the PlayStation Plus collection.
Yeah, the PlayStation Plus collection.
So that's still there.
That took way too long. That's all still there. You kind of got to navigate to find where those games are. But yeah, it has it divided by. You can go. Oh, I want to look at sports games, and you can click on like a file that says sports, or you can click on a file that says RPG, or a file that says.
I think it's a lot more intuitive than PlayStation Now was.
Yeah, it definitely was. And PlayStation Now kind of was like a flash screen,
and it's all like
it's like a Netflix screen that was like you'll maybe like this,
right?
And this is like you can find what you want to actually do.
And there's a lot of surprisingly big name games. Some weird omissions, I feel like. I think the biggest things here were the Spider-Man Miles Morales, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 2K22 NBA,
Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut,
Death Stranding Director's Cut. But weirdly, The Last of Us 2 not included in this at all. They could be saving that for further down the line, but I just felt like it was weird because Ghost of Tsushima came out the same year. And got that treatment.
And PlayStation, and it was on the Last of Us 2, I think, was on PlayStation Now.
It may, yeah, I
think it was
briefly, for a couple months.
Which I mean, I already bought it, so whatever.
There's lots of good stuff on there. I'm still going through. There's over 400 games in that main catalog on the KWTXtra category. If you still have the original version of PlayStation Plus, you're good. You can sit on the essential version for as long as you want. You can upgrade to extra or premium for the remainder of your year. It estimates out the charge or whatever. So I think I'm good till September. So I was able to upgrade for just $17 to the premium.
Yeah, I was already, I think, on the premium when it gets. So I got
a PS Now.
Yeah, so I'm good until February actually. Right. So, but I will say, if you don't want to pay, I think it was $119.
$119 for premium. And
if you don't want to check that, because extra. You will eventually get charged that, and that 119 will come out of your bank save, and you'll be like, "What was that?"
Yeah. So it's I think there's a lot of cool games on there. I've been finding stuff like My Name Is Pedro's awesome indie game that's on there. Hollow Knight's on there. Celeste is on there. There's a lot of cool indie games that you may not have played before.
I mean, the first Horizon, I think, is on
the PS Plus collection stuff is up there. So God of War, which is also the free game of the month if you're on PS4 and you don't have access to the PS Plus collection. There's a lot of cool stuff there. I'm happy to see that so much got featured in it. I think the Spider-Man remaster is also in there. But there's just some weird omissions. I think that they're trying to take into account the amount of money that they would lose by putting some of the first-party titles in there. But The Last of Us 2 has been out for 2 years now. So maybe just put that one on there.
Maybe Horizon, they'll do that closer to... Yeah. Because they're already pushing the pre-order for... Right. In those flash screens, they were pushing the pre-order for The Last of Us Now Part 1.
Yeah, the remake.
So maybe they'll release it sooner. I don't know why you wouldn't just... If you have all this stuff, why not just release it? It's not... Them withholding stuff to release it at a later date isn't going to make somebody that didn't have this already go and purchase it, I don't think.
Well, and you need the subscription to access it. So it pays for itself in that way, and that's the idea. I don't think they'll be trying to compete with Game Pass in that regard. The other big things that were part of this edition on the extra and premium, you get streaming ability for PS3 titles as well as for PS4 and PS5 titles that are available through the service. So if you have a decent internet connection, you can stream games instead of downloading them and taking up space on your hard drive, which is nice on PS5 since the hard drive is kind of limited to start with.
Yeah, I also have a terabyte hard drive as well as the other hard drive.
Yeah, I have a 3 terabyte external, so I'm right there with you.
So yeah, it's the streaming, it worked fine. Like I get decent internet, but like routers it's a whole other thing. Routers in a different room, so like it doesn't stretch. So like it worked fine. I tried to stream Mafia, the original Mafia remaster, which was pretty fun, and it worked. But occasionally you'd be in the middle of a gunfight, and then all of a sudden it would just like clip.
Yeah, I was able to stream Death Stranding's director's cut pretty well, and also My Name Is Pedro, and a few other games like Shadow Warrior 3 and stuff. So it works pretty well if you have a decent internet connection and you're close enough to your internet for that to matter. But
AT&T, come give me fiber, please.
Kind of the weirder part of this was the PS Premium's added tier of the PS1, PS2, and PSP games. Tekken 2's on there. Siphon Filter.
See, I didn't even get that far, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, I'm weirded out by it. So I love that video games are getting preserved. I think that it's cool that you can go back and play those games. It's not for me.
It's not fun.
The objective, just obliteration of these games' controls and feeling by modern conveniences makes it impossible for me to return to older games. I tried to play Tekken 2, and I was like, these controls are frustrating, stilted, and stiff, and I don't like this game. But I remember loving Tekken 2 when I was a kid. Siphon Filter looks like a fun game, but you strafe with L2 and R2. I don't what?
That's how I feel about GoldenEye. We talked about last episode. GoldenEye, not that great of a game when you go back. And
you're not playing with a mouse and keyboard, which you can only do through emulation, which is illegal. Don't do that.
No, I even went back and I played, like we talked about I was going to do. I played The Last of Us remastered. I booted it up again, and I am just zooming through that.
Yeah.
But like looking back on it, graphics were great, and they're still pretty good on the PlayStation 5. But even looking back on like a PS4 remaster, I'm like, whoa, this is old, man.
Yeah, you can really. I don't think people realize how far graphically and mechanically we've come for a lot of these first-party titles. Don't break our stuff. Come on. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that. Like, I saw people were like, well, so they're just going to up-res the graphics on The Last of Us?
Go back and play it. It's not...
Go look at any of the side-by-side comparisons. They're different games now. They look completely different. They're going to play differently, most likely, because they're going to use the Last of Us 2's controls and be a lot smoother. So I think that it's weird seeing these, not modernized, but emulated versions of old games put through a modern filter to try to make them playable and fun again. Because
like if I go back and I play Jack and Dexter, I'm gonna have a bad time.
But at least that one's like semi been redone a little bit. Like they modernized some of the controls on that and stuff and tweaked out some things, and the graphics were slightly up rendered, which you have the option on all these PS games. A lot of them are the PAL versions, which are inarguably the inferior versions because they're improperly formatted and stuff.
Take your word for that.
Sure, yeah.
I know what that means.
Look, I know what that means. We're all very smart around here. But I think overall, like the value of the package is still there. I think there's a lot of good stuff. I've seen the argument that like Xbox is better, but we won't know that until.
I mean, probably they have this. Like,
I mean, they keep buying everything. They just get to be by default. They have no one else.
They have the IP now. PlayStation does have a ton of great IP as well.
They have strong partnerships with the industry.
And the day and date release stuff, you're just not going to beat that. Also, PlayStation knows that.
Ubisoft, if you're going to launch Ubisoft Plus, which stop putting plus after everything, thank you. Welcome to Uplink Plus. That'll be $5.
To me.
We got to split it. So you get $250, I get $250. Go get some chicken nuggets.
One chicken nugget. Inflation.
Yeah. It hurts. But, if you're going to launch your new game service that is supposed to feature all your classic titles, maybe bring more than like 5 or 6 kind of okay games that came out forever ago. Why is Watch Dogs Legion not on there? Why is Watch Dogs 2 not on there? Why is The Division 1 on there at all? What are you doing?
A game that actually works and people played, I remember.
Yeah, but what are you doing? Where are all of the Assassin's Creed games? It's just
waiting for you to buy them in the online store.
But that's what I'm saying. What is the point of Ubisoft Plus being part of this collection if it's not even most of their stuff? Like, I think the bigger get would have been trying to convince EA Play to be part of it, but I know that currently Xbox is the main stay for that. So we'll see what becomes of it. Hopefully the month-to-month releases that come with that will add some new stuff. The first major thing that's coming out that will be part of this that's going to be a day-and-date release is the cat sci-fi noir game Stray, which if you haven't seen, it looks amazing. And I can't wait to be a cat detective. But I mean, come on, that writes itself.
What was the raccoon game where you were a thief?
Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper.
Also, PlayStation. Do something with that franchise. And Infamous.
Finally, from me, before we wrap up, Madden, past couple of weeks, has gotten a couple of trailers, a couple gameplay trailers. Okay. Yeah.
It's Madden. It's still there. Oh, last thing for me is my one bit of extra news that I brought with me that have benefit of us recording later. Final Fantasy VII Remake is now a 3-parter. The next version, or next part will come out next year. They're remaking Crisis Core, which is the Sephiroth spinoff thing. That's cool.
Just make a new Final Fantasy
they are.
game.
Final Fantasy 16 is also coming out next year. So we will get double Final Fantasy. Maybe if one of them doesn't get delayed, which they will. So look, everything that was going to be happening this year is now happening next year. And if God of War Ragnarok comes out this year, that means that's Game of the Year. So that's just how it works.
That's a win for me.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Corey Barlog, I noticed you started tweeting again. Is the game done? Come on. You can tell us.
We want to know.
Anyway, for more on the latest gaming news, previews, and reviews, subscribe to Hardwired. Catch us on KWTXtra. We got some fun surprises coming down the line that I can't wait to tell you guys about in July. Look out for the Quarry review up tomorrow, and also a very belated Sniper Elite 5 review that will be up probably also tomorrow. And this will be up tomorrow. Today. All those things are actually today. We'll catch you next time.